Welcome. My name is Israel Gross, and I'm a Principal Solutions Advisor at Rocket Software. Today, I want to talk to you about using the context command to group regions outside the boundaries of a CICSPlex. If you've watched any of the prior videos, you'll notice that when I log on to OMEGAMON, I'm presented with the Enterprise CICSPlex Summary, All Active CICSPlexes, because I set my initial workspace to KCP Start. And I've also organized all my CICS regions into 3 different CICSplexes. CI regs is where I store my CI regions, any region that starts with CI. I have CPSM reg, which is where I store my CMASs and WUIs, my controlling regions for CPSM. And then finally, I have a CPSM CICSplex called FUWPlex that OMEGAMON recognizes. I can go down to any of these CICSplexes and I can select them and see a region summary associated with that plex. The problem is on occasion I have applications that start their life in one set of regions, maybe in some of the FUW regions, and then they might function ship over to one of the CI regions, and therefore I might want to be able to see this region summary show me regions other than those inside my CICSplex. So there is a way to do this. There's a command, and the command is called context. I'm going to type it in right here. And within the context command, I can see that there are 3 possible contexts. There are CICSplex, LPAR, and user group. And over on the top right, you'll notice that Plex ID is set to FUWPlex, which means currently my context is set to FUWPlex. Now, if I pull the down arrow, you'll see that I have my scope could be any of my CICSplexes. If I click the radio button for LPAR, I can see that I can use any of the 3 LPARs I have to show me the region organization. So for example, if I were to click RSC1 and click apply, that would show me all the regions, I only have one, within the LPAR RSC1. Now, you don't always have to go through the context screen itself. You could simply type in context, LPAR, and then RSC2, and you'll notice up on the right-hand side, it says LPAR RSC2. As a matter of fact, once you're in the mode of LPAR for your context, you could simply overtype the name here, 3, for example, and that will show you all the regions associated with that context as well. So if I were to go back to the context screen, and I were to take a look at my user group, the first thing you'd notice is it's blank. I don't have any user groups. So let's start by setting up a context for a user group and show you how to add any regions you want to that context. So we start out by going into E for edit, O for objects, and that will take you to the managed system list, right? And you can see within this list, there's a tab here that's identified as CICSplex. And within here, I can see my 3 different CICSplexes, and I can also see the KCP system ID for all the different LPARs I have. Now, if I wanted to create a user group, I need to put a slash over here, and it'll show you the only option you have is to create a new object group. So I'm going to select N to create one. And now when I give it the name, it must have a certain characteristic. It has to start with KCP in uppercase, an underscore, user, where U is capitalized and the rest is in lowercase. And then I'm going to add one for payroll, and that must all be in uppercase. So you have to add KCP, user with the U in uppercase. Finally, the group name itself must be all in uppercase. If I click OK, it'll present me with a screen that says, okay, which regions would you like to place within this group? So I'm going to go down and place in my 2 AORs. And I'm going to go and put in one of my CI regions and hit enter. And you'll notice what it does is it shows you the member list for that particular group. Obviously, I could add more regions to this group if I wanted to. By the way, when you hit PF3, you'll notice there's a new line called KCP user payroll. If I put a slash next to that, you can see I can edit it. So if I choose to add more regions or remove some of the regions I added earlier, I can do that as well. Now, what this will change is it will change when I go back to my region summary screen and I go into context. Well, if you remember from prior videos, it could take a few minutes for the registry to get refreshed. So let's do a T.R and then hit enter, and then suddenly you'll see the payroll. Now, if I pull the down arrow, it's the only group I've created, so that's all that exists. So I'll click apply, and what you'll notice is up in the right-hand corner, it now says user group and it says payroll. If I had different user groups, I can overtype the payroll with the name of the user group that I want to display. What I'm also going to show you is right here, when you look at the actual region names, you can see some FUW regions and some CI, or one CI region, which is obviously showing us that we can actually see regions that aren't in the same CICSPlex. Now, one advantage of building user groups is when you issue a command such as a find command, I could say find active for all active transactions, OS asterisk for everything to do with OMEGAMON, for example, and you'll see that that find command is processed across the user group. So the user group remains payroll, and it'll show me all the transactions that start with OS across that particular group. Or for example, I could do something like find program pay us, and it'll find that program across all the regions within that particular group. Well, hopefully you find the context command helpful. Thank you for watching.